Hi, we are here with Penny Cedar, CEO of Habitat for Humanity. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having a conversation with me, Dr. Johnson. It's good to be here with you.
Yeah, thanks. We're very excited. So, how does Habitat for Humanity work to create affordable housing solutions?
So the cornerstone of Habitat for Humanity really is about homeownership and helping people achieve the American dream of homeownership so that they can have equity and have something to hand down to their families. And that's what we've been doing at Habitat. So I think it's important to think about Habitat as, yes, we're a nonprofit and we're a charitable organization creating housing that is affordable, not free, but definitely affordable. And we're like a full service home buying program. So we put people through a pretty robust education program. We have an application process for people to go through, and we open it up to the general public a few times a year where we gather lots of people that are qualified. There's a qualifying process, and we help our families with down payment resources. So we line up down payment resources, and then of course we build the houses with volunteers, primarily with volunteers. So they help to keep the cost of the labor down a little bit, and it really helps to bring the community together, and they get to know the families that are going to be buying these houses. So we're really full service. I mean, everything from credit counseling to housing counseling to, like I said, we're actually implementing a whole person wellness program in addition to the financial education that we do. And I think one of the most important things is being able to coordinate those down payment resources for a closing, which is not easy.
Right, huge. And maybe I should have asked this first, but what makes someone eligible to apply or eligible to work with you all?
That's a good question. You need to fall under, we serve families under the 80% area median income. So the way to find out what does that mean specifically to you and your family is to go to our website and look at the HUD guidelines. HUD sets those area median income guidelines for the nation, and certainly for our area here in the Osceola, Orange, and Seminole County, what we call metropolitan service area. And so we follow those guidelines. So a lot of the families that apply to our program, they don't always qualify right away. Mm-hmm. So we can send them to our HUD certified housing counselor and credit counselor, and she'll work with people at no cost to them to get them ready to reapply.
So that's very interesting. I really appreciate that explanation, and it kind of reiterates the point you made earlier about, this isn't a free home, this is really an affordable home, and you want to make sure that the families that you work with are going to be able to get into the home and afford it once it's built and once it's their own, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Once you're eligible, can you kind of walk us through what that process would be like for the future homeowner?
Yeah, once a future home buyer, this is really what we call our clients, a future home buyer, is once they're qualified for the program, the journey really looks like going through a pretty robust whole person education curriculum that we've put together. So it's everything from civic engagement to, of course, budgeting, understanding your mortgage, shopping for homeowners insurance, understanding homeowners insurance and your property taxes, to wills and estates. We've been partnering with some hospitals too for things like, where do you get mental health counseling, some parenting classes, some classes about cooking on a budget. So we've got a very robust education program that our families go through, and it's mandatory and it's part of their sweat equity. So a Habitat future home buyer does sweat equity. It's the partnership part of our program. We don't require a large down payment on the home like you would if you were, when we go buy a house, we got to put 20% cash on a down payment on the house. For our families, it's putting them through that education process. It's also helping to build their house and other people's houses, or maybe coming into our office to do some to do some administrative work, just helping us with things we need around the office. So there's skin in the game, for sure, but when you are cost burdened, which many of our families are, you can't save that money for a nest egg or for a down payment on a house, because you're barely keeping your head above water. So we do ask our families for that sweat equity, and it sets them up for long-term successful home ownership as well. But that's a key component. That sweat equity is what makes our homeowners successful for the lifetime of their home ownership.
Generally speaking, what would you say are some of the major barriers to home ownership for just average citizens right now?
Well, one of the biggest barriers is that down payment. Saving for that down payment, which we don't require. We do require that our families that they will save for their closing costs, but that's just a small $5,000 amount that they have a whole year almost to save that money. I think, the cost of homes has increased. Before you got here, I was just reading something that construction costs in the last 3 years have gone up 40%, which far outpaces even what feels like crazy inflation these days. And people's salaries haven't kept up with the increase in the cost for home the prices for homes. So the average cost of a home here in Seminole County is $420,000.
Wow.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So if you think 20% of that, that's like an $80,000 down payment, at least. And that's very, very difficult. So we're here to show people that pathway to home ownership and help them along the way.
Do any of them recount to you stories of the information they've learned while going through this process of purchasing a home, sweat equity, and maybe being able to share that with other folks? Do you see kind of like this residual impact of your work?
Absolutely. In the neighborhood where we're sitting in right now, which is the historic Goldsboro neighborhood, one of my 16 years ago, one of the first families I got to serve when I started here at Habitat, she was on Section 8 housing, had a little girl who was 5, didn't really know where she was going with her life and where she was going to live and how she was going to provide for her daughter. She applied for the Habitat program, didn't make it in, worked on her credit, came back, applied for the program, and we accepted her into the program. And I watched her be able to provide things for her daughter that were not going to be possible. After school activities, piano lessons, activities and other extracurricular things. She also increased her own education. She became a registered nurse. She got lots of people from this community to buy Habitat homes. So it has elevated the entire community because there are more homeowners here, and they have this really great grapevine and way of supporting each other and being on the lookout for one another. And so it's created more community in this area, which I think has been really, really great.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. It's not just building a home, it's really changing folks' life forever and the communities that they live in.
It really is. I've seen the trajectory of a family completely change, breaking a cycle of poverty, having an asset to be able to hand down to their family.
Thank you for sharing that. So if folks want to know more about Habitat, where should they go?
Our website is habitatseminole.org. It's all together one word. Or you can just Google search Habitat near me, and that'll bring us up.
Penny, thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's always my pleasure to talk about Habitat for Humanity and spend a little time with you, Dr. Johnson. Thank you.